Just a couple bad weather fans representing New York, talking all things sports. Man, what could go wrong? We got Alex, who's a fan of the Knicks, and Mike of the Nets. The yin-yang of the tri-state, place your bets on the Yankees, Giants, Mets, or Jets. Yeah, you should listen if they're sparking your interest. If you made a vow to your team, don't break it. Bad weather fans is the relation.
That's right. This is Bad Weather Fans, episode number 137. Mike Biseglia, Alex Benesowitz, and the Nets Media Day is in the books, while the Knicks, their Content Day, is over as well. Well, it was the Nets, I guess, that made all of the content from this past media/content day for the Knicks. Alex, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, Mike. As you know, if you go on DolanJTrump.com, our president at Dolan_J_Trump, use promo code BWF. You get 20% off on everything on his website. And I'm doing well. Getting back in the swing of things. A week home from Greece. Almost back on our time zone. I'm still getting really tired at night, but I got a lot of Knicks content to get through. Shana Tova to all my fellow Jewish friends. Celebrate Rosh Hashanah. Just got through all that. So I'm a little exhausted, a little stuffed.
Yeah, I don't like how you say. I don't like how you say it like that. I just got through all of that. You make it sound like.
No, it was fun. It was
good.
Fun. I had a lot of dinners, a lot of big lunches, a lot of family stuff, and it's for people who don't celebrate, it's kind of like Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, where you're just eating all day for 2 days, two major dinners with both sides of the family, and then I added in a lunch, with my rabbi today. So it was just it was a lot. It was 3 days of eating.
Well,
and
I'd love to talk
stuffed.
Knicks, but honestly, I could do an hour about you and your rabbi if you're game.
Yeah,
no,
it was
kidding.
Fun. That's fun. Rabbi Golden. It was awesome. It was great.
Right.
Him and his wife.
Rabbi Golden, download the podcast.
Actually going to send it to him. Actually, that's fun.
Well, good. Yes.
Yeah. So anyway,
I used to celebrate more, but that's a different conversation. We don't have to go there.
Don't tell Rabbi Golden. Yes,
yeah. Well, now he's listening to the podcast. He's going to send me a DM. Fuck. Okay. Anyway, Knicks Content Day, Nets Media Day, Knicks making a little news as well after Content Day, and I will call it what they call it, and you will get that from me for the rest of eternity. With Tom Thibodeau after Content Day making news about the Knicks lineup with Evan Fournier. It sounds like it's going to be a starter, but we'll start with the Brooklyn Nets, who did have their media day, and it was I think for the most part, all the guys were pretty honest about everything. There were a lot of questions that needed to be asked. For the most part, I thought they were asked, and I thought the candid answers from everybody. I don't think anything spectacular or crazy, but I was glad that those questions were asked. They had to be asked. They had to be addressed. And as much of a diehard Nets fan as I am, Alex, and want to hear about all the minutia of the 2022 Nets and rotations and all that fun stuff that will happen, they did need to answer questions. So they showed up. They did do that. Kyrie was his dick self. Kevin Durant was condescending a little bit as well. And then Sean Marks and Steve Nash had to do a lot of dancing around questions. And to me, that sums up what Nets Media Day really was. I mean, to be real.
That sums up the Nets organization as a whole. That's just how they're going to operate this year, man. And it's crazy. It's crazy. It's like organized chaos. You know what I mean? And, I like Markieff Morris's well, maybe not organized. It's just chaos, but I don't know. But I love Markieff Morris's comment where he's like, I've broken up my wife like 5 times. He said something like that. It was really funny. Yeah, and he said, I broke up my wife a couple times and we're still married. Shit works. That's his comment. And I love the Morris brothers. You're going to love Markieff, man. You're going to love him.
Well, I think that what it boils down to a little bit is, can they reconcile this? Can they all get together? And can it work? And the majority of people will bet no, and will say that it will not happen. I've said it before, and I've said it in the past. At least now there's a bet to be made if this is going to work, if this can happen. But beyond that, we got to move past that because now we're actually into the season. Yeah, there's a ton of question marks. What does this team look like? Does it have any chemistry? Do the pieces fit? Does Kyrie Irving stay? Does Kevin Durant stay? Does Kevin Durant get hurt? There's a bajillion of these questions, which a lot of them were asked. And then I guess, they kind of said like, yeah, I wanted to trade, but shit didn't happen. Here we are. And they're all in this position. And will they get their shit together? Probably not. But I'm excited to find out and looking forward to seeing what happens with this organization in the future and if they can play well. Because I mean, they are loaded talent wise. It's all there. But they had to get through the media day. They did it. For the most part, I thought all of the questions were asked. They sat there, sat through them. And I thought, it was interesting that when Ben Simmons is your C-level story of media day interest, probably not good when there's so much more to be learned from Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, that Ben Simmons was almost like an afterthought, even though he had not played in a year plus. He just is coming off back surgery, and there's a whole lot of shit to unpack with him.
Yeah. Yeah. Is he going to play? I mean, people still like, yeah, he's going to play. And it's just like, well, how do you know? You don't know. He still might not play. I mean, like until he is on the court, even in a preseason game. If he plays in the preseason, I'll be like, all right, he's playing. Until he is on the floor, I will believe that Ben Simmons is playing basketball again in the NBA. It's just as simple as that for me.
Yeah, if that's the take you want to take with it, I hear you. And I just would say for the Nets, they just got to go out there and show it and prove it to people. And if they can do that, then they can shut everybody else up and they can take everybody's opinions and shove it up their ass. I mean, that's what they have to do. And hopefully they're guided with that motivation. They're feeling energetic about it. And they come into the season with all chips on their shoulders, because that's what the culture Nets were good. It was guys with chips on their shoulders. And now you just have to hope Kyrie has one, even if that's just about making money. Kevin Durant wants to prove the naysayers wrong. Ben Simmons, everything that has transpired with him in the past, all of that, if they can rally behind that, that's the key for them to win a title. It was, for me, overall, watching Media Day has been kind of weird. Like the first Media Day when Durant and Irving were there, even though Durant was hurt and you knew he wasn't going to play for the season, it was fucking exciting because you're like, here's Kevin Durant in a jersey, in a Nets jersey.
Right.
Then, the James Harden year going in, they didn't go into the season with Harden, but last year going into Media Day with Harden there was a feeling of like arrogance. Like if we weren't hurt, we were going to win the championship. Here we are all together, like puffed out chest. This year's Media Day, I was like, I don't give a shit. Like I care a lot, but I'm just like, yep, this is all words. It doesn't matter. When's the game starting? And it's like my feelings on them watching it was a very different experience than from year one, where I was all fired up.
And rightfully so. I mean, you got excited. You got your guys, and you thought it was the time that, all right, give it a year and we'll be there. We know the story. We don't have to go through it. But the Nets roster, if you look at it, man, they got some guys, like really good rotational players. It's not just a top three, loaded team, with Royce O'Neal, TJ Warren. Like they got some guys. Joe Harris, if he comes back, Patty Mills. Like they have some guys that are really good. Seth Curry, I forgot about him too. Yeah, Nick Claxton too. They have some guys that are good players, man. And if they could just get it together, and they really could make some noise. I don't think they're going to win a championship because of all the issues that are going around this team. But like they could, if they can get it together, and you somehow something happens and they just come together, then you never know, man. And I don't want to admit that, I don't. But you can see it. It's just, are they going to really fight as one? Like we always say, all for one and one for all. If you're going to win a title, it sounds cheesy, but that's what you need.
Yeah.
Especially in the NBA.
And I thought, as much as it was chaotic, they love James Harden in their own way. Like, what is Ben Simmons to Kyrie and Kevin Durant? What is that trust factor? Is there some sort of connection there? And all of this has to happen on the court. But I think the best thing for the Nets is there isn't a fallback of who we are. And this year, they finally have to guys go like, we got to take this regular season seriously. We got to be motivated to play. And you can't get so much out from Media Day. It really doesn't matter. It's all about actions on the court. I mean, that's where it starts. That's where it counts. That's where the wins and losses occur. Not Ben Simmons saying he feels great. Although I will say, at least it's nice to hear Ben Simmons speak. That had something that had not happened. It kind of lost some juice in the JJ Redick pod because he said a lot of the stuff. I think that took a little bit of the juice away. But at the same time, it was good to hear him speak. Kyrie Irving with his comment, basically saying that, and all indications are that when he decided not to get vaccinated, he turned down the 4-year, $100 million extension, which, for him, it was sort of honest, but at the same time, he was just such a dick about the whole thing. It was like the perfect Kyrie answer. I was like, yeah, he's being truthful, but at the same time, he's like, oh, look at me, look what I did. It was like the Nets in a nutshell there,
Yeah.
all coming out. And, it was just
He
kind
really
of
thinks
this,
he did something. He really thinks he
he
made a
does.
change and did
And
something.
he may have
to
for
help.
some people. I mean, I don't know.
What
He
happened?
may
The people who got fired still got fired. I
No, I
mean, what
get you.
happened?
But I'm just saying there might be people out there like thinking, hey, I'm being on a micro scale. I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean that's Kyrie, man.
Yeah, that's hey, good luck. And like I said, a couple episodes ago, or maybe last time, I don't know what it was. The Nets look like geniuses not giving him a long-term deal and having him show up, because now it's like, all right, prove it, bro. Prove it. You want to be here, you want to do it, show up, help us win. He doesn't have to win a championship to get an extension. You would think, just show up and be normal Kyrie. Don't be this crazy Kyrie, be normal Kyrie, and let's see what happens. And then if he's not, then you just say, okay, goodbye. And
It's
that's
so
it.
funny.
Yeah.
It's so funny because it really is like what we're asking from you, Kyrie, is to play and to honor your contract. And if you can do
dare
that,
you? How
like,
dare
that
you?
is basically it. For it. I mean, that's not it, but that's it for him.
It's basically it. I mean, listen,
Yeah.
if he shows up and plays, he's amazing. Hall of Fame talent. Yeah.
I wonder how much of this Durant Kyrie Irving relationship has been a little splintered from what has happened, and like the awkward. Kyrie even said like it was awkward when I opted in and Durant asked for to be out. I think that relationship's not as strong as it once was.
We'll see.
I feel a little bit of that there.
I mean, Durant is kind of wasting the back end of his career on Kyrie Irving, So it's kind of like, all right, this is the year. If they're going to have a chance, it's going to be this year, because Durant's 34, right? I mean, how many more years is he really going to be this great? I know LeBron, but LeBron is a freak that he's still playing at a level that's amazing, but he's not winning anything anymore. He can't just show up and win games anymore. He can put up stats, but he needs help. I know he's always needed help, et cetera, blah, blah, blah. Don't go down that road. But yeah, he used to be able to show up and carry a team to the finals with Boobie Gibson. He can't do that anymore, and Durant's not gonna can't do that anymore anyway, himself, Yeah. So he's literally thought he was going to Brooklyn to build a super team and have the back end, maybe win another title. And now it's like, all right, now we're 3 years later. Now we have Ben Simmons and okay, here it is. This is it. The first dance, not the last dance. This is the first dance, because you're not running anything back because nothing has happened.
No, it's not the last dance.
It's the first dance. Yeah.
It was telling what he had said as well when they asked, like, why you wanted out of Brooklyn. And he had this one answer. This was that part that annoyed him, was when he got hurt and they went on that horrific 12-game losing streak or whatever it was. And he was like, I just felt like he's there. It's like, yeah, I know what my impact and what I can bring, but I was like, we couldn't win some games. We couldn't get a little thing going. So he just started to feel when he was there that there were some problems within the organization, that they weren't winning games. They weren't being held accountable right. And I think the part of it that's frustrating is, yeah, he's probably right in some regards that shit wasn't going right. But he basically just admitted that when the going get tough, peace. That's what he said. Right.
That's what he's always been.
But they're like, hey, I didn't like the direction this is in. I'm at the tail end of my career. I don't want to have to deal with this. So I hear that and I respect all of that. And I understand, like, hey, I'm at the end of this. I want to go out there and win a title. But at the same time, it was like, because of all this self-inflicted wounds of the behavior from Kyrie Irving, James Harden bolting, like all of this were self-inflicted wounds that, maybe James Johnson signings and Blake Griffin was cooked, and they didn't get enough production from Paul Millsap, and all of those signings didn't work out. At the same time, like, toughen up through it. I know this sucks. I get it. But like, let's build the championship culture and let's change that attitude. Let's not bail on that. And that irritated me, because it was, the going got tough. And I realized this wasn't a great spot. I don't really think I want to deal with this anymore. I don't like where the organization is going. You're just gonna say, like, get me out of here. Come on, man. Like, you dictated a lot of this shit. That felt pretty weak to me.
Well, it's nice to hear you say that, honestly. And it's weird because is the press kind of scared of him? Because, like, was there no pushback question to that? I would be like, well, what about your boy? Your boy Kyrie and your boy Harden that you traded all these draft picks for. These were all your guys. Like you haven't put anything on them. I mean, the Nets did everything that they could have asked. You could have asked for them.
Yeah, I don't remember word for word. I mean, it felt like
you're paraphrasing, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was like the most like, oh, we gotcha questions all over the place. I mean, the one question that wasn't asked that should have been asked, I guess, was like, did you try to get Steve Nash and Sean Marks fired? Was that on your agenda this past August and July? That I guess wasn't asked. But I mean, overall, I thought it wasn't fluff questions by any means.
Okay.
And I thought for the most part, guys answered. I think that was his honest. I'll give him credit. That was his honest answer. I didn't like what I was seeing here when I was out. And I just thought it'd be better if I was somewhere else. I mean, I'm glad the organization didn't cave and he stayed. But yeah, I thought that was kind of telling. I was like,
honestly, I think one thing that it's going to be weird. It's like it's almost a backhanded respect thing for him is that he went directly to the owner to demand these trades. He didn't go through channels. He didn't like tell Woj to tell,
he went
the owner. He went right to his door. And at the same time, you look at that, that's great, but like you lost. You asked Marks and Nash to be fired, and otherwise I'm gone. And then here you are showing up with your tail between your legs. I mean, you got your logo on a statement, like congratulations,
Like,
so
it's whatever.
Yeah. So it's like, what? Like, how can you can't sit here and act like the tough guy, like you won, and like, oh, he patted himself on the back. It showed that they didn't want to just give me away because I'm so talented. It's like, no, nobody wanted you, dude. Like, because you keep demanding trades, you're always injured. And who's to say that in a year you're going to demand a trade again? And you're 34 years old. You're not worth it anymore. That's why you didn't get traded. It wasn't because you're so amazing that nobody wanted, there was so much, the Nets were asking for so much. It's because nobody wanted you. If this was 5-6 years ago, everybody would trade their entire roster for you. Now it's not like that.
Yeah, I would push back and I would say I don't think anybody wanted him. I think it was just the circumstance of what was available in the marketplace didn't equate. People wanted him. Everybody definitely wanted to try to. Everybody called for Kevin Durant. Saw what
but you're not going to give up.
You're not going to give up everybody.
He's worth more to the Nets than he is to another team. Because they've invested so much in him. Exactly.
It was the perfect storm for them to keep them. That's why I say too, like, players are going to the player empowerment's changed because the Nets held strong against Kevin Durant. No, I think it was just a perfect circumstance with him and Kyrie where they've created such a disaster function around them in that circumstance where for them in their careers, the best thing was to stay. And Kyrie Irving had no leverage. They had asked him, like, did you have other options? He goes, yeah, I had other options. Not many. He admitted it. Yeah. I appreciated hearing that. It was like, yeah, there were options, but not many. And this is the best for me to stay here and run it back.
Well, Kyrie, they both came back with their tail between their legs. Kyrie tried to shop himself around. Nobody wanted him. Durant couldn't get traded because nobody wanted to pony up the players and the picks. And now the Nets are back with, the tail between the legs should be the theme of the Nets 2022-2023 season.
The theme is going to be shock the world.
Shock the world.
The Nets are going to shock the world. I do like this part about them. Then we can talk about content day with the Knicks. I do like this about the Nets is that now there's nobody like on the hype meter where it's the Nets to lose, and everybody will have them
under the radar.
Under the radar, everybody's going to be, who knows now with the Celtics. But before it was like the Celtics, Bucks 1-2. Then you got like, if you're a Sixers guy, are you a Nets person? Do you think, what are the Cavs now with the Donovan Mitchell stuff? Like the Nets were kind of in those other tiers of where you think they'll land. I like that. I do like that this year they're going in with, most people think they're a dysfunctional mess, and at some point something chaotic will happen and go down. It does give me some joy to be like, okay, as crazy as this sounds, the 2022 Nets are going to go under the radar to start the season, not from a interest perspective, that'll be there, but from a win-loss perspective, there's not the pressure of you got Irving, Harden, Durant. If Irving's not this and Harden's hamstring that, this team is a lock to win the title. That's gone. And in a nice way, from a team that could use some motivation, I don't mind seeing that, and kind of fits more of where my personality stands and how the sports teams I like to root for.
I hear you. I want to ask you one real Nets question. How was Joe Harris today? Did he get any on Monday? Did he get any questions or? Yeah, but what was his situation? He's good to go, 100%.
Yeah,
Is
he's
there
cleared.
anything like?
He's cleared
Yeah,
to play.
okay.
He talked about the having the surgery again, and he's good. He's good to go. TJ
That's
Warren has
huge.
not been cleared yet, but he's healthy.
He'll be fine.
Steph
Yeah.
has not been cleared yet, but he's healthy. All these guys have had surgeries. But yeah, adding Joe Harris, Seth Curry, TJ Warren, Royce O'Neal, Cam Thomas in his second year, Kes
Markeith,
Edwards in
yeah.
his several years, Morris, Daron Sharp in his second year. I mean, the Nets have the roster. And now
Right.
like people debating, well, do you have Claxton and Simmons at the 5-1? Can they have the shooting? It's like, I don't know. Maybe not. These are good questions to have. Will that lineup work? Will that not work? I'm sure the coach will fuck it up. But at least it's general basketball questions. But yeah, Joe's good. Joe's good to go, and Joe's ready. And he spoke to the media at media day.
That's good. That's good. I'm happy. Joe Harris is one of the good guys. I want to see him play, and it felt bad that he was out.
This blew my mind about them, and then we will talk content day. This is Joe Harris's 7th year with the Nets.
7th year. Wow.
Mm-hmm. 7th
three
year
with the Kyrie and Durant era, right? And then before that,
this will be
the
year
culture
4
years,
with them.
2 culture years.
3.
Right?
Yeah.
And
4,
then 5. There was 7, really.
This
I would
is year
think 5,
7
yeah.
with Joe.
Okay.
Yeah, which made me feel terribly old and like just how fast this shit is
Yeah,
gone. This is year 7. Oh my God.
Real quick on one of the teams that we should pay attention to, the Mets, who literally can win a World Series. You're like, oh, they were just in the World Series. Like 2015 was
7 years.
7 years ago. It feels like, not that long ago, but it literally was 7 years. It just shows the Mets it's just crazy. They're in the World Series. They're knocking on the door once a decade, like their entire history. It's insane.
Brandon Nimmo's been in the organization for like 10 years now. And it just feels like yesterday. He was being brought up and everything. So the Knicks don't have media day. They did have content day.
Can't say media. Can't say the word media. We're boycotting the word media too. That's how embarrassing it is. But okay,
yeah, it's kind of odd. And I actually, and I saw you retweet a Bobby Marks thing about the Knicks being good. I'm always I think the Knicks will surprise people and be better than people think too. But I did find it fascinating and predictable when the news came out today and there was a Fred Katz tweet about Thibodeau leaning towards veteran and big marquee free agent signing from last season, Evan Fournier getting the starting 2-guard role. Why do you laugh?
I'm laughing because of the way you phrased it.
I know.
Big marquee free agent sign.
Hey,
it was
him and Kemba.
Yeah. I'm not surprised because I knew this was going to happen. I knew this was going to happen. It hasn't happened yet, so we'll pause that kind of aggressiveness. But anybody who thinks Thibs is going to change at 64 years old, knocking on 65, now he's going to change his rotation. Now he's going to change his stubbornness. Now he's going to change. When you get into your 30s, all your parents are in your 60s. Are they going to change their ways? You're just like, oh, that's just my dad. He just does this. He just always has to say something stupid. I just ignore it. I'm sorry. Okay. Thibs isn't changing, man. Like, this is who he is. He loves Julius Randle. He's going to start at the 4. He loves Evan Fournier. He's going to start at the 2. He wanted Fournier to be signed last year. He wasn't thrusted on him. There were stories that came out that said Thibs wanted Evan Fournier. And now he's going to phrase it as that we need some shooting. Like Fournier, yes, he set the Knicks single season 3-point record, but there's a lot of volume shooting there. Fournier would have 47 million points against the Celtics one night and then score 3 the next 4 games. He was so inconsistent. It was crazy. And it's also so funny. I know you're going to say it, so I'm going to say it for you. The Knicks couldn't trade Quentin Grimes for Donovan Mitchell, but now you're going to start Evan Fournier over Quentin Grimes. That's why Danny Ainge was laughing in your face about the guys that you're trying to offer him instead of offering the picks. But anyway, we can't go back on that again, but here we are.
It is odd.
Yes.
It is odd, but that's why I've been kind of asking about these questions for the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Why guys are starting, aren't starting. Now, you got to remember, too, it's not about who starts games. It's about rotations and who finishes games. So maybe if Evan Fournier starts and then Quentin Grimes gets a shot. But you know what it is? You know what it is, Alex? In Thibodeau's mind, Evan Fournier gives this team the better chance to win. And that you can agree or disagree, but that's his opinion. And Julius Randle, for everything that has happened, is an established player. He's an all NBA second teamer from a couple of years ago. Like it or not, has a deeper,
Like last year didn't
stronger
happen,
pedigree,
right? Yeah.
has a deeper and stronger pedigree than Obi Toppin, who is a young player, unproven player, but with, a lot of talent the Knicks want to see on the court. And if Thibodeau's going for wins, you're not going to see that happen. I mean, I'm fully convinced of it now. I think the Knicks are strangely deep. I don't know if they have like marquee, in all seriousness, like top level talent on their board, but I think across the lineup, they're pretty interchangeable where they have good depth. And I think that will help the Knicks win games, especially now that they won't creep up on people like they did earlier in the year, and people like the Nets, and to a certain degree, nobody's going to be picking the Knicks to be in that top 6, probably not in that top 8, and more the predictable pick for the Knicks will be somewhere between 9 and 11 in the Eastern Conference. I can guarantee you that on all those stupid magazines that I'm sure all of us used to buy and spend $11.95 at CVS on. They'll be somewhere in that range. I like the Knicks' depth. And it'll be interesting to see how Coach Thibodeau navigates that and where he goes with that and how they figure out what they want to do with these young players. Because the worst thing in the world for the Knicks this year, the worst thing in the world will be the Knicks are the 8 seed. Randall played better, was solid. Fournier was good. And these guys just never saw the court. That would be as crazy as it is, like for the Knicks to do that would be taking so many steps back for the overall progress of the organization.
Yeah, and this is why Thibs need to be fired, because he's not going to be and the Knicks roster makes absolutely no sense, and it's why you had to go in and get Donovan Mitchell, because you got guys like Fournier, Thibs, Fournier, Randall, whoever else, Derrick Rose, these guys are win now players and a coach that wants to win now, but you have a roster and an organization that should be developing the younger players. Even Isaiah Hartenstein, like he's okay. He's a good backup, but why is he here? You have Jericho Sims and Mitchell Robinson. You should be developing these guys. These guys should be getting all the minutes. Isaiah Hartenstein's okay. He's a good player. He can shoot. Like, okay, why is he here? Like, what is the point? What are we trying to do here? Especially if Randall's still here. If Randall's gone, then okay, he makes sense on the roster because you have Toppin, Mitchell, Robinson, Jericho Sims, and Isaiah Hartenstein. Okay, that's your 4 guys in the 4 and 5, and just let's rotate and see what we got. But this right now doesn't make any sense, and it's not even like an NFL QB. Like, let's say you draft a guy in the top 3 in the draft, and there's a veteran that comes in, and you got your Ryan Fitzpatrick's of the world, right? Is on the right. Well, the coach is in the first day training. He's got to earn his spot. Like, and everybody's like, yeah, okay, bro. Yeah, sure. Whatever. Oh, yeah, okay. Like, you're not going to start, so-and-so. Sure. And this is not that, because all these guys are in their second or third year. These guys need to start to play. It needs to happen. Obi needs to play. Quickly needs to play. Grimes needs to play. Jericho Sims needs to play. Mitchell Robinson needs to play. RJ Barrett needs to play. I know Barrett and Mitchell Robinson will play, but like the other guys have to show up and play. You can't force feed me Evan Fournier. You can't force me Julius Randle and expect me to be excited about the season. And it's just, there's this whole propaganda going on right now between like people who work for the organization. They're getting on Twitter and they're trying to push this narrative of, how can you not want Randall to succeed? Of course, I want him to succeed if he's wearing a Knicks uniform. I just don't know where this organization is going. So Randall and Fournier start the whole season. You win 40 games. What the fuck is your team? Like, what are we in that point? What are we at that point? Like, where are we going? That is my problem. And I'm just so frustrated. I'm going to trick myself and get excited about the season because I'm a Knicks fan. I love the Knicks. I'm going to always root for them. But I hate that I can't really, really in my heart of hearts get excited because I am just so frustrated because I'm watching the same crap and it's going to take us half a season for them to be forced to do something, you would think.
That'll change fast if they start winning games and you'll buy in real quick. Just like I will with the Nets if they start off hot and they're playing well and Ben Simmons looks incredible and all of that.
But it's different. It's different because you have Kyrie and Durant and Ben Simmons.
On relative
Yeah, Julius Randle.
I get it.
You
Now,
know?
let me use this case in point, and everything broke right, and ultimately their season kind of fizzled because they got hurt. But I look at the Cleveland Cavaliers last year
Mhm.
and the concessions that the team made, where you have guys like Kevin Love being the veteran type player who you could ask for in spots, but you're developing your younger talent on the Cavs. I look at Ricky Rubio, who did get hurt, and that crushed their chances because he was the
Crushed the
veteran.
Knicks
But
last
that's
year
like
too.
the Derrick Rose of the
Yeah.
team, where you're not asking him to do so much, but he's coming off the bench and spelling the younger players like Mobley, like Jared Allen that the Cavs had. And of course, I'm blanking on the point guard name.
Garland. Yeah.
Garland that played so well. Like I would say that, that's the Nick equivalent. If you give those guys the keys, but then you have Kevin Love, you have Ricky Rubio that can step in and be the veteran types. Like that worked for the Cavs. They took a huge step forward, and now we know what they have with Donovan Mitchell. Now they're a contender in the Eastern Conference. They Karis LeVert there. They've got good depth. Like to me, that's the Nick approach of the season. And then you just hope that Garland, Mitchell Robinson take those developmental steps that the Cavs had internally, but at the same time, you have veteran guys like Kevin Love, Ricky Rubio that can step in and be there. Like to me, that's the Nick approach because you want the veterans to play and be there, but you can't be if like the Cavs went into the season and they were like, we're giving all the minutes to Kevin Love and not letting Evan Mobley develop. Like you'd be like, that is insane. But with the
Mhm.
right balance and things break right, which it did for the Cavs, it can be a recipe for success.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. And, and also the Cavs wanted to get rid of Kevin Love, but he wouldn't waive his no trade clause or not waive his no trade clause. He wouldn't agree to a buyout. So the Cavs wanted to get rid of Kevin Love like 2 years ago. And he said, no.
Similar. It's kind of similar in a weird way. Well, maybe I
Yeah.
don't know if the Knicks really wanted to remove Randall, but you know what I'm saying.
They never, yeah, I don't think they ever did, because I think that's a whole conspiracy theory that I have of the nepotism and Leon Rose
Right.
and Julius Randle and the Woj pod. And I don't want to keep saying the same thing over and over, but in every episode, but everybody can see it. If they want to listen to that episode, you'll know what I'm talking about. He was at the family dinner.
Right.
But anyway, so it's not the same, but it's a good point because the Cavs took the 2 years and maybe Sexton getting hurt kind of helped them see Garland for fully and see, wow, this guy's better than Sexton even before the injury. So let's go, and it's crazy. Like the Knicks have just done a lot of things backwards over the last year and a half. And it's just, there's so many things that you can question. And like, how can I get so excited about everything that's happened? It's just so it's just, and it's not even being like crazy. Like they extended Randall a year early. They gave Kemba 2 guaranteed years. They played the veterans but more than the younger players, and the younger players are outplaying them. The coach, started calling out fans when the younger players won a game and saying you need to watch tape. And then Randall's throwing laptops in coaches' faces and cursing out the fans and throwing a ball when the Knicks win in disgust. It's just, and then the Knicks, they get cocky about Donovan Mitchell all summer. And then before that, they show up at the playoff game and they're going to get a stupid tampering charge on Jalen Brunson, who was playing Donovan Mitchell in that series. Maybe they're tampering there too and probably pissed off the Jazz from the start. There's so many things there. Like, what are you doing? It's just like, these are simple things. And then you go and you punt on the whole lottery for Jalen Brunson. You punt on your lottery picks for to try to sign Jalen Brunson. The tampering thing might cost you a lottery pick. And now you hired his father, Rick Brunson, who I loved when he was on the Knicks. And he has some kind of charge, some allegations of improper conduct towards women that caused him to quit Minnesota. That Fred Katz has tweeted that out today. I forgot about that. It's true. So you invited that into your situation for Jalen Brunson, who's the 15th best point guard in the NBA. He's a competent starting point guard, but was he worth all of that? It's not even just $120 million that you gave him. It's all of that. Who are these players that they passed on in the draft? You might lose a second round pick for tampering, and you have this allegations from his father. It's just like, what?
This brings me to a beautiful point where I do want to talk about before content day for the Knicks. There was a Leon Rose interview that was done with Alan Hahn. And, that's a tough spot to begin with because I do think Hahn asks fine questions, but you can't. I mean, it's all control. It's a control setting, and that's it. I mean, that's all we heard from him.
Yeah.
But and This is my favorite. This is some of my favorite stuff. And this is where I believe it or not, I do have a lot of respect for the Knicks fans because I do, in a lot of ways, think that I have a lot of Knicks fan qualities in me for my passion for the Nets that started in 1993 and so on. But the part that I lose a little respect, and I'm like, really, is when the Knicks fans are saying things of the like of, well, Leon Rose is uncomfortable with media. This is a better place to do it for him. And then we don't have to get the bad reporters of the world that are just looking to get gotcha questions. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
This is not a New York thing. This is not a Boston thing. This is not a Phoenix thing, a Detroit thing. This is a sports thing. There's media. There's your team. They hold you accountable. If the Nets didn't have their media day and didn't get to and questions weren't answered from these guys, there's so much uncertainty around the organization. Now, maybe there's not many Net fans who care, but there's sports fans everywhere that really gave a shit about what had happened there. It was on the fucking cover of ESPN.com for a month, every second and move that was made. Questions need to be accounted for. So I'm curious why people get so on the defense about making sure we can protect Leon Rose because it's uncomfortable for him. I mean, you're getting paid millions of dollars on these high profile jobs. I've had jobs in my life that don't pay as nearly as well, and there's been uncomfortable moments. I think that's a little pathetic.
Yeah. And I was just Googling his salary is roughly, oh no, that's not it. His net worth is $150 million. I don't know what he's getting from the Knicks. It's probably not disclosed, but it's.
Do you think they're protecting him because he's uncomfortable, or is it just like what is the reasoning to protect him? I get the RJ Barrett stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I agree with it, but I understand why they protect players.
It's not his fault. Yeah.
Why are they protecting him?
Because he has no answers for the questions. He has no answers for the questions. That's it. No answers for questions. So they're going to hide Leon Rose. They're going to hide the Knicks players. They're going to hide everybody until the story dies down. Because now, a month later, nobody cares about Donovan Mitchell anymore. And the questions aren't as aggressive anymore. The fans that were mad aren't as mad anymore.
Right.
So
exactly.
You can get away with kicking the can down the road. And now when it comes up in a press conference on content day, you can't, God forbid you say media, you can't, nobody cares anymore. So there's no pushback from the media as much because the fans, even the ones who are mad about the deals and that didn't happen, they're not as passionate about it anymore because the season's going to start. And you're like, whatever, this was all concocted by the Knicks by doing it on a news dump Friday night against Aaron Judge's home run record. And nobody in New York gives a crap. And then Sunday there's football. Monday night you have the Giants. And now by Monday morning, nobody cares about Leon Rose talking to Alan Hahn at MSG. Nobody even watched it. It's just, it's what are we doing, man? It's just like, how stupid do you think we are? And some fans just buy this shit, and then there's the people that work for the organization, these bot accounts out there, and even not bot accounts that are out there, company men out there, just pushing this bullshit narrative. And it's just like, you're getting me down this road, Mike, and you get me in trouble, man. I'm just so tired of this crap, dude. It's like, how stupid do you think I am? This is what you're doing. And then I'm called a hater because I'm calling out what the fuck is happening. I'm like, I'm rooting for the Knicks. Julius Randle's on the Knicks. Thibs is the coach of the Knicks. I'm rooting for them to succeed because I have no fucking choice. But that doesn't mean that Leon Rose botched this situation. Doesn't mean World Wide West botched this crap. Doesn't mean Allen Houston botched this crap. They did this whole shit from last offseason to this one. This team could have been 5 steps ahead of where they are right now. And now we're going into the season with Jalen Brunson, Evan Fournier, RJ Barrett, Julius Randle, and Mitchell Robinson. And all they added to the team was Jalen Brunson and Isaiah Hartenstein. So congratulations. We don't even have a rookie. Oh, we have Trevor Keels, a 2nd-round pick that's going to be a Westchester. Congratulations. And I hope Trevor Keels kills it and is the man. But come on, man. Come on, man.
Is this the camera where Knicks fans are watching? Is this it? Is this the camera? The president
Where's
of
my
basketball
teleprompter? Is my
operations
teleprompter here,
for
or is
the
it at this
Knicks.
camera? It's camera 1 or camera 2? I'm
Is
not
this
sure.
the camera? This is where the Knicks fans are watching on YouTube. Is this the camera? It's pathetic not to answer the media. It's pathetic. Hope you
You're
enjoy
scared.
content.
Leon Rose was scared. He's scared. And that's what it is. Don't tell me about anxiety. Don't tell me about any of this. Guy was a power agent. Probably went into business meetings that were way higher stakes than talking to Ian Begley and Stefan Bondi. Okay. Don't tell me he can't answer questions in public because he has some, his anxiety. Oh, give me a break, guys. It's $150 million. He quits his job tomorrow. He'll be fine. Like, does he really care? This is what I'm talking about. He got his nephew on the Knicks. I mean, like, what?
You know who?
You're getting me mad.
Oh,
man.
we'll change it. You know who?
No, you don't have to change it. I'm just saying.
No. You know who is who's a dick to the Nets and definitely dislikes the Nets is a reporter, Nick
ESPN
Friedel.
guy, right?
Yeah, I will say Nick Friedel asked the best questions to them, but he definitely hates them. Like,
Because he doesn't care.
Like,
He's not trying to be friends.
No, but
Yeah.
but I think there's I think he definitely just hates the organization.
You know why? My
he's
opinion.
all
on
it.
that? I'll
It's
tell you.
almost it's I've now gotten to the point where it's like there's something. It's not, but he asks really good questions and not really hates the organization, but he's definitely slightly edged to be a dick to the Nets and to the fans.
Do you think that's an ESPN thing, or do you think my theory is either ESPN told him to be like that, or he knows he's not like these local newspaper reporters that are stuck, quote unquote stuck, which is not a terrible job. It's a great job.
Of course,
they have to be with the Nets for however long their newspaper or their website tells them to be. While Nick Friedell's at ESPN, he's like, all right, he'll cover the next team that gets Kyrie Irving. You know what I mean? Like, if Kyrie Irving gets traded to the Lakers in 2 years, he'll be on the Lakers beat now, and he'll say, "See you later, Nets. Forget about this."
Of course, right. The second the Nets become irrelevant, he's not going to be covering them. I mean, he's gone. I mean, he's gone in a second. It's an interesting question. I think that is his personality. I think that is just kind of his thing. Now, if he's separating himself because he can have that option, I'm not sure if you saw this in media day, but when he was asking questions to Kyrie he said, "We're going to be best friends. You and I are going to end up being best friends," which was really funny. I mean, the whole exchange back and forth, and Nick Friedell's sitting there acting all pompous and shit. Like, here's two guys acting like dicks, and it's beautiful.
We should get Nick Friedel and Stefan Bondi on the podcast. That'd be great. At the same time.
I don't know about that.
No. I will never get Bondi on here. Never. Or Isola or those guys. No, never.
And
I don't care.
Berman retiring or not retiring. I don't know what happened. I saw he's done.
He's leaving the Knicks beat. I don't know why. I mean, I wasn't a fan of his, but I hope everything's okay with him personally or, physically. I don't know. I know he took a leave a little while ago, so I hope there's nothing wrong there. I don't hate the guy like that. No, but I can't say I'm going to miss him on the Knicks beat. And all the fans now are saying, "Oh, I'm going to miss you on the beat." Like, you guys were cursing this guy out every time he sent a tweet. Stop telling me you're going to miss him now. This is the kind of fickle shit we get out of Knicks fans that drives me crazy. I hope he's okay though. I really do. I hope he's okay.
Someone had a tweet who's the biggest Nick rival of the last 10 years, and it was Trae Young, a couple other or Reggie Miller was in there, maybe not more than 10 years, and then Mark Berman. I was like, I mean, come on, Knicks, your franchise hasn't been that bad. Come up with
I'm wearing the relax shirt, from Dolan J Trump website.
Mitch,
20% off Bad Weather Fans.
He's a funny guy, Mitch Robinson.
Yeah, he's great.
He's an interesting sense of humor.
There was one quote he had where he said he didn't really pay attention to what was going on in the offseason. Something like that. Like, "Oh, did you pay attention to the trade noise or anything like that or the contract stuff?" And he's like, "No." And for all of the players, I believe him. This is what he said. He's like, "That's one for the office guys. That don't got nothing to do with me." Like, on the follow-up, if any of you following the trade rumors this offseason. And out of all the players, Mitchell Robinson, I believe, he's just so aloof. He just doesn't give a shit. No. If you follow him on any kind of social media, anywhere, it's just him and his pickup truck and his boys. He just here's my car. He just he's one of those guys. He can take his phone, throw it in his bedroom, and then just be off the grid. And I believe it. Mm-hmm. A lot of players, you're like, if RJ Barrett's "Oh, I didn't pay attention to any of that noise." "Oh yeah, okay, bro." You did. Yeah. You were packing your bags for Utah. You knew you were going there until something happened. We don't know what it is. So whatever. That's something I believe. the one other quote that I liked from the Knicks, Derrick Rose taking a shot subliminally or not subliminally at Julius Randle, where he goes, I think what this year is all about is accountability, being able to not get in your feelings when somebody's coming over and giving you constructive criticism. If the last guy can't tell the star you missed the coverage, something's wrong, and it's vice versa. It's kind of a little bit of broken English, and I couldn't really read it straight. But he's basically saying if somebody's is holding you accountable, don't push back. AKA, don't throw a laptop in your assistant coach's face when he's trying to tell you should have cut this way and not that way. Or please hustle on defense. Don't curse out the fans, and then Julius Randle jumped in right after that and dapped them up. He must have been walking by. So maybe he liked that. And maybe Derrick Rose is the kind of guy that held the team together the year before when they got to the playoffs. But at the same time, why is our season relying on Derrick Rose? It's
yeah, I said before, if the right flip-flop of minutes is recommended, and I mean the Knicks season last year definitely took a turn for the worse when D Rose went out.
Right,
he definitely was hurt when he wasn't there.
They were hovering around 500, right? Yeah,
but it took a tailspin back. If I remember when it went down, he was shirtless for content day, right?
He was
to show that he's lost
J.R. Smith, a
little weight, or show he was in the best shape. Was that the reasoning?
I don't know, man. Who knows?
I was like, if we
I have
do
no
this
idea.
podcast with no shirts.
Yeah, I don't think anybody want to see that.
I don't know. Maybe it's good content day. You really hate content.
I just
don't hate
feel
content.
like after the media boycotts of the Jalen Brunson day, which I didn't care about the Jalen Brunson day because he just showed up here. It's not his fault. But the RJ Barrett thing and Leon Rose not talking to the media and hiding and then kicking the can down the road. And I see all the things that are happening. And then you're not going to call it media day. You're going to call it content day.
That was
and
awesome.
Then your audio quality sucks and your video stream keeps cutting out. And everybody kept saying, I didn't watch it. It was, it was Rosh Hashanah. I was out and about and, temple with family and everything. But I heard and I tried to watch some of it and it was just terrible sound. And some people said Julius Randle's quotes were pulled off for a second and then came back on. It was so hard for me to not put that conspiracy theory hat on and be like, you guys are doing this on purpose, but at the same time, now that the season's starting, the Knicks can't hide from the media. Leon Rose he can sit in his ivory tower forever if he wants, but Thibodeau's got to talk to the media. Everybody's got to talk to the media. Julius Randle, well, maybe not, because the Knicks hid Julius Randle after the thumbs down and he cursed out the fans last year. Remember, he didn't talk to the media for 2 weeks. That left RJ Barrett out to dry during that situation. It's like, well, what do you think about your team out telling everybody to shut the fuck up? Well, I dropped, the game winner. I mean, do you guys want to talk about that? So
that was after the Celtic game too, which was great because I was so pissed about that game. Just having Knicks fans happy, so nice to see something.
That was the highlight of the year, and it was ruined. Ruined.
I don't know if ruined. I don't know if it was ruined. Well, ruined. I can't speak for the Knicks fan.
You know why? This goes back to the news dump thing, and a lot of people didn't understand that theory, that phrase. So I kind of explained it.
Wait, hold on. Time out.
A lot of people doesn't.
Fans. Did people really know you wrote the definition of what a
people don't get it,
was?
man? I'm telling you, you can't assume people understand media terms like we do. You can't. People don't get a lot of things.
Put a poll out there. Does people know what a news dump is?
Well, people are going to say because nobody's going to be like, I don't know what the fuck this regular thing is. Just, a lot of people think when a presidential election happens that the president's the next day is the president. You know what I mean? They don't know it takes a couple months for that to happen. So people are stupid, bro.
But I don't. But it was funny. You're subtweeting news dump. Where'd you get did you make up the definition? Did you?
I just wrote it out and kind of explained it. You know what I mean? By
people asking you, I saw that. I was like, what is he doing?
No, because people weren't really I felt like people weren't getting it. You know what I'm saying? And so it was just kind of I just wanted to explain it, and it
made me laugh.
I forgot where I was getting. What was the point I was getting to it? There.
Yeah, I totally interrupted.
Called the timeout on. The
I had to have that answer on it, but you were just complaining. I don't remember.
I forgot. Damn it. It's okay. Whatever. Anyway,
is this the camera?
This is the camera.
I couldn't help myself on that.
So, and I put out a tweet today about what my rotation would be. It's just my opinion. And it would be, the starters are Brunson, Grimes, Barrett, Toppin, and Robinson. And the bench with heavy minutes are quickly Rose, Sims, and Fournier. And the limited minutes, but play every night are Reddish, Hartenstein, and Randall's the 12th man. Earn it. I wanted him traded. Happening. How am I going to be play and start? I know it's not going to happen. Trust me, I know it's not going to happen. It's just what I would do. Because if I've been saying all summer, if you're a fan like me who've been saying all summer, trade this guy for a bag of chips, get him the hell out of here. Or don't even get a bag of chips, just nothing. Take him like Kemba Walker to the Pistons. Just take him and take our picks and, we'll take back nothing. how can I be like now? Oh no, playing 40 minutes tonight. Like, no, that would be inconsistent. That would be, not something I do. You know what I'm saying? It just doesn't make any sense. I don't want him on the floor. I know what's going to happen. It's the same crap. And I keep saying it, give it one preseason game where Julius Randle plays like shit and does the same old crap. And everybody will be right back to where I never left, because I defended Randle, defended him to the death. And then I was just like, all right, enough. You're throwing laptops. You're getting fans kicked out of arenas. This is now a trend, and you're sulking. You're not hustling. Done. And once you get done, you got to show me. And that's why I'm not playing you. You can earn your minutes back when you get an opportunity, when somebody gets injured. To me, in my opinion, if I was coaching this team.
I've got a question for you, and I've got a question for the Bad Weather fans audience.
The Bad Weather fans.
The Bad Weather fans. Who gets, I don't want to say fired first, because there could be some weird kind of like a mutual parting bullshit. Who lasts longer in New York as a coach? Steve Nash or Tom Thibodeau?
We have Rob Saleh to that list too.
No, we cannot. This is strictly hoops. Who gets
fired first?
Yeah. Because we know the Nash angle. I mean, that goes without saying. Oh, well, the Nash angle is they all hate each other. The Nets start off slow, blah, blah, blah. They got to make a change to get a spark, or something happens with the Nets that ignites it. The Thibodeau angle is slow start, stubborn with his rotations. Evan Fournier, like, he finds a way to get Evan Fournier 50 minutes, even though there's only 48 minutes in a game. Like, somehow Obi Toppin gets -7 minutes in his first start, right? Like, what happens first?
Well,
I think it's a tough question.
It is a tough question because there's a lot of variables there. We'll start with the Nets.
Yeah.
Start with the Nets. The Nets can't. I mean, the Nets have been known to flip-flop here. So with the vaccine stuff, with other things, with Atkinson and whatever. So let's go there for a second. But the Nets can't look themselves in the mirror, put their foot to the fire with Kyrie and risk it all with Kyrie and Durant showing up and say, no, we're not firing Nash. And then 3 months in the season, you start off like 500 and you'll be like, all right, goodbye. You can't do that.
Yeah, they could.
They could, but then you look like then any smidge of credibility you gain back for standing up to Kyrie is totally fucking gone. And now Kyrie and Durant are going to do whatever they want again.
Anything can change with this organization. I hear your points and they're fair, but
anything's possible.
Anything's possible for sure.
Really, like anything. Okay. Like Kyrie could be the player coach by January. He really can be.
He could imagine, and then he'll be absent as a player and a coach.
And then with the Knicks, it's like, it's so hard for me to see Thibs get fired because, one good year, one bad year, but the bad year was like almost completely on Thibs' shoulders for not holding Randle accountable, not fixing the rotation and playing the players that were playing better, and being so stubborn that it costs you games. Coming out every third quarter, it felt like, with a shitty game. You might be up. Look at the Nets game, when the Cam Thomas game. You're up 30 points at halftime, whatever it was, 100 points at halftime. There was not one Knick fan that you met on Twitter or texted or anybody that said, oh, we got this one. Because we knew they were going to come out in the third quarter. I even bet on the Nets in the second half to cover because I knew the Nets were going to come back. I didn't know they were going to win, but I knew they were going to make it a game.
Curry had a good game.
Because if you looked up, if somebody can do this for me, because I've tried, if somebody can get on StatMuse or somewhere and give me the Knicks third quarter record, just head to head third quarter, how many third quarters they won, I guarantee you they'd be 30 games under 500, right, at least.
So it was putrid third.
And that's on the coach. You coming out of halftime that flat, that's on the coach. And if it's that often. And then with the Randle stuff, you're not holding him accountable, and then you're forcing Fournier down our throats. You got Kemba, you bench him too soon, and then you bench him too late, and then there's so many things throughout the season that screwed things up. And Obi Toppin sneezes on the court and he's benched. It's just like, what are we doing here? And he's still here.
I want your answer on this. I'm excited.
I really don't think Thibs is going to get fired unless the bottom completely falls out of this team. So I really do think that it's going to be Steve Nash first, because of the uncertainty in Brooklyn and the unpredictability.
But I will say, I will say you didn't just come out here and be like, oh, the Nets were a joke and he's going to get fired. You definitely gave like a fair answer there. And it wasn't just, your bias of, it was well thought out and it was organized and it was great. I think, unfortunately, they both last for a couple more years. I think the Nets will. Yeah, because I said, I think the Nets will be good enough, and I don't think will be dysfunctional enough where he'll get fired. I don't know what their ceiling is.
Thibs will be 70 years old. Well, we won 30 games last year. You got to give him a chance. He's 70 years old. You never know.
I said this on the previous podcast. The Knicks are in purgatory, and he's the perfect man for the job. He's going to play. He's going to find that right balance of not playing the young players, and he's going to find the balance of playing the older players to be just good enough
to win 40, 42 games, 38 to 42 games. Yeah.
With the skinny James Harden, who's lost 100 pounds, according to James Harden.
And then now that the Celtics, who seem to be a mess, which is a crazy situation, not even worth talking about at this point. It's
things change so fast.
Yeah, it's just
Robert Williams out too. Look at Chris Middleton hurt to start the season.
Yeah.
Out
there. Look at the Cavs, man. Look at the Cavs sitting pretty. Cavs are sitting pretty, man.
And the Nets sitting pretty.
Yeah, the Nets are sitting pretty.
That's sitting pretty. I can't believe there's basketball starting in a couple of days.
Holy fuck, man. It's just insane.
It's gonna be fun to watch.
You know what's crazy?
When did the Nets play again? Go ahead. I'll look that up.
But you know what's crazy? It's like I'm nuts because I'm looking up, opening day for the Knicks. They're playing the Grizzlies on the 19th. I look up the NLCS schedule and it's going to be game 2 of the NLCS. And I'm like, fuck. The Mets and you got to watch the Mets, of course, but then it's like it's opening night for the Knicks. You know what I mean? Like, so it's just like, what do I do? But like, let's let it play out. Maybe the Mets sweep the series in the first round.
Don't do that.
I don't want to go there because then I'm like, count it. I'm touching the money, and then I'm just like, fuck. But in my head, I'm like, I can't not think about that. But then I'm like, if I'm out at a bar, they'll both be on, and I'll be able to watch both. You know what I mean? But at the same time,
don't do that.
Fuck. Anyway.
Yes, because who knows with the Mets? Don't put them already in game 2 of the NLCS and all these different scenarios. Nick first game of the year is November 9th. It's a Wednesday at MSG South, the Barclays
2 days
Center.
after my birthday. Maybe we should do that, huh?
You want to go for your birthday? Are you asking me now to buy you tickets? Is that what's happening?
No,
here?
I'm just thinking like it's 2 days after my birthday. Maybe
I am not going to the Barclays Center for a Knick game with you. Hell no.
Well, I got to see how the Knicks are playing first. I'm not going if they're like
I'm not
9.
going there. No, because I can't do that.
Sorry, call me a front runner if you want. I'm not going to Brooklyn to watch the Knicks who are imploding at the Barclays Center. No,
first of all, they'll be
like
10 games into the season, and I don't need to go there. And then like the Knicks go up 17-11, and you're obnoxious and loud. That's the last thing I need to deal with. Hell no.
No,
definitely
no.
not.
We needed a playoff series against each other 2 years ago. Was what we needed. We needed that 2 years ago. That would have been great. That'd been great for the podcast, and it would have been great to just. That would have been nuts for the city. Like we needed that as a New York basketball city.
I know
we didn't get it.
We would have. I don't know if I could have sat there next to you and like seen each play and heard you're like that was a foul and under my breath like this guy's a moron.
Oh yeah,
I don't know.
I'm relentless at a game, man. Relentless.
Yeah,
I'm one of those guys yelling
the
entire game. Relentless, and it's just. I'm just man. When I went to game 2 in the Obi Toppin alley-oop, I jumped on top of my friends and we like fucking like mosh pit. It's like one of those like that was insane.
More Knick moments for you.
Yeah, recently, yeah, sure. You know,
all
but
time.
all time. Sure.
I'll go to the Garden with you for a game, but I can't do it at Barclays.
Yeah, you want to go to a real arena? I understand.
No, it's not.
Mecca. You want to go to New York City, New York City. I understand. You know,
as Papa Left said on the podcast, it's just different. And but in all seriousness, I just don't want to. I could stomach a loss at the Garden easier. Like I could, they're on the road.
You're the away team anyway, right? Yeah, so it's like
it's a little easier to stomach than if I was, and then the Knicks fans start cheering, which would happen. I've said this before, like the Jet games become half the arena of other teams.
Jets don't get any fans anymore.
But no one even seems to even but no one even seems to give that a problem. But the Nets do it. It's like it's a big deal for whatever.
Well,
reason.
the Jets, it's kind of like been 10, 11 years. I mean, we had the 2015 year where they were good, but like they didn't make the playoffs, whatever. But like it's been a while since Jets fans have been able to get excited. And this week was a week that we thought we'd get excited. I tried to trick myself into getting excited, even though they just had a great 2.5 minutes against the Browns.
Right.
I mean, they played well that game, but like, they were done. They were down 2 touchdowns and the game's over, and they had a miracle win. And you're like, well, maybe this is the moment. You try to trick yourself. Maybe they're turning around. And now it's like, well, now you have Zach Wilson and maybe, but you know what? Rob Saleh sucks. Offense, they don't know what they're doing, and they're too passive before the half. And I can't get into the Jets right now. I'm gonna be upset. But the point is, like, they're not drawing any fans. And even before that, at MetLife Stadium, they weren't drawing a lot of fans because all the away team fans were coming in. That never happened at Giant Stadium before MetLife when I was going to every game. It happened rarely. It would be like a Dolphins game, a Cowboys game, where there's a Raiders game when the Jets aren't that great, where there'd be like a lot of fans for the teams. But this is like every week. Like it's crazy. It's like away. It's 17 away games for the Jets, and it's terrible because the fans don't care anymore.
Well,
tickets are too expensive.
I think it's a combination of things too. I think tickets are expensive. I think the secondary market has changed the way people can go to games. It's different than before. But like if you're a road team and if you're in find your way into the stadium, it's a little more of a daunting task. Now you can whip out your phone, type in a couple of things, 10 minutes later, you're in any stadium in the world and you can get any ticket you want. Now it's going to cost you money. It's going to cost you some spots here, but I do think the accessibility for anybody to get any ticket, and then you combine it with the fact that if your team sucks and isn't very good, you can get into these arenas or get into these stadiums in the football case, and you can go out and you can see your favorite football team. It's also, this will be a shot at New York in a sense. It's also, I think, a compliment at the same time. But New York is a melting pot of people from all different cities. People come to New York because of opportunity, because of jobs, because of the success that's here. They say if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. But in all seriousness, cliches aside, a lot of people from different areas live here. You go to a different city, you're not going to find a melting pot of fan bases. There is
Pittsburgh
a melting.
Is all Steelers fans, right?
Pittsburgh is all Steeler fans. Cleveland is all Brown fans. You go to New York and you're going to find a shit ton of Cowboy fans. You're going to find a ton of Steeler fans. It's just, especially football too, which is such a different type of sport and has so many roots in different ways. It's a little different there. And then same too with the NBA. Why the Barclays Center became Seth Curry's home one night when he dominated. There's more Seth Curry fans than there are Net fans.
Steph
Curry. Sorry, I've been doing that now.
It's easy to do. Yeah.
So I mean, there's a combination of that stuff. So I think it's the Jets being trashed for so long, combined with the fact that it's easy to get tickets when they're lower priced. Possibly, I don't know exactly. I haven't looked. But it's easier to get into MetLife Stadium, MetLife Stadium now than it has ever been before.
That's true. And it's also, I know you don't see this because you live in New Jersey. It's a pain in the ass to get to MetLife Stadium for New Yorkers.
Sure.
Even if you live in the city, it's a pain in the ass to get there. If you like coming from Long Island, what me and my dad and my sister used to do for every game when we had season tickets, that's an hour and a half drive home. Like that's a long time, 2 hours sometimes if there's traffic. That's a long day. Like you're leaving the house at like 10:30 to make sure you get there on time. You get there at like 11:30, 12. You're sitting in the parking lot. You might tailgate. You might bring a Subway sandwich. You eat in the car, and you go inside, watch them work out. 3-hour game. And you get in the car. If you stay there the whole time, if it's a full game and like it's worth staying the whole time, and it's not a blowout or something, it's just like that's a 10-hour day. That's not like going to the Garden. Even if you live on Long Island, you take a Long Island Railroad, take you 45 minutes. You're right at Penn Station, and you go upstairs. You're at the Garden for 2.5 hours. You go home. You're at 4 or 5 hours. You're done. It's not easy, and especially they suck. It's not worth it. Why am I wasting my time?
I will say the Garden's definitely like the epicenter of the spot because it's in Midtown. It's in the middle. So for convenience on an average, It's probably New Jersey, Long Island, Connecticut,
and people work in the city.
That's
and stuff
the
like
middle.
That.
That's the middle ground. But I mean, for me, when I think about like going to a Mets game, it's the same thing but reverse. It's a major pain in the ass. Going to the Barclays Center is hell. That's the hardest of all of them. Is going to
so
the
inconvenient
Barclays
for
Center.
Jersey
It's
people.
So inconvenient. It's so difficult. I mean, it's a nightmare.
I mean, it's good because you got
absolute
trains
nightmare.
there. You got the Atlantic Terminal.
But
You got a bunch of
like
things.
The
But
train, I got to go to Penn and then transfer. I mean, it's just a nightmare. And then I don't mind the train there. It's the train back.
The packed train back.
The train
you might fall asleep. Yeah.
It's worth it for me to park there. I have my sneaky parking. I have nowhere to go. Hop in my car, and then I'm in the car listening to the post game. There's no traffic on the
phone. In your own space.
No,
I get it.
I can relax. I can just sit back.
You're not sitting next to a bunch of drunk people like, yeah, you see that game, or the homeless guy that pissed on himself in the corner. You're not like that.
I don't. No,
you're chewing some gum, drinking some water. You're doing something, just like enjoying life. Yeah, no, I get it.
All right. This has been
anyway. We've got the homeless people pissing on themselves. That's the end of the show.
That's the cue to end the show. On that note, buy Dolan J Trump's merch, 20% off. If you put in the promo code, or you pee on yourself. Apparently, that's the same way. I'm kidding. Buy his merch. Don't urinate on yourself, please. This has been episode 137. Media day in the books. Content day in the books for the Knicks and basketball games. Nets, Knicks in a couple of days, in a week. Nets are October 3rd. When are the Knicks? When's their preseason start? Nets have the Sixers on Monday the 3rd. It's got to be
Friday.
Soon.
I don't know. Next Friday, I think.
Soon.
I don't know.
It's
or
soon.
This Friday.
If you made it to this far in the podcast and you give us an answer to that, I'll be more impressed. I almost want you to not answer.
I got it. If you want me to answer it, I can answer it. October 4th, next Tuesday.
I'm going to bleep that out. October.
Anyway, take care.
This has been Bad Weather Fans, episode 137. Thank you to everybody. If you're watching, please subscribe. If you're listening, follow, download. You know the drill. We got Nets and Knicks basketball coming up in a couple of days, which is fucking phenomenal. Alex, F137 in the books. Have a wonderful night. Is this the camera?
That's the camera. That's
Download. This is it for the Bad Weather fans. Download the podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe. I promise this is going to be phenomenal content. We have the best listeners in the world. You will not be upset for taking the plunge and downloading and subscribing. This is I promise you'll love it.
Yes.
All right, Alex. Talk to you later.
More Evan Fournier talk coming up. Talk to you later.
Bye.